Morning, folks. Hope y'all doing okay today. Thanks for tuning in. If you like anything about my take on this, give me a like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if there's anything you want to know my opinion on that I have not hit on yet, feel free to comment. Let me know what it is, and even if it's something I don't know anything about and I got to do a touch of research, I don't mind. So, all that said, there was something that hit the news the other day that I felt like I should sound off on just to kind of give my opinion, but I'm going to try not to insert foot into mouth. So, bear with me on this. It's Pete Buttigieg and him taking 2 months of paternity leave. So, first off, I want to say I'm not anti-paternity leave. I wish I could have gotten some when my youngest was born. For those of you that don't know, when my wife and I got married, I was so broke I couldn't pay attention. And when she was 5 or so months pregnant, was the first time in our marriage that I'd become gainfully employed. And so I was just getting out from behind the 8 ball financially when she was 5 months pregnant. I started my current job when she was 6 months pregnant, and at that point I started attempting to get the ducks in a row in order to get some paternity leave and time off. However, due to the laws and circumstances at the time, I was not eligible for FMLA or anything. So I filled out all the paperwork, to kind of leave the red, try to cut through the red tape to show them, hey, here's what's actually going on. I do want some time off if possible. I didn't end up getting anything. So my youngest daughter was born on a Saturday morning. My wife was in labor Friday evening and went to the hospital. I cut out of work that Friday. I was already up at work when she found out she was in labor and when she went into labor. So I go to the hospital. My wife has the baby. We stay up at the hospital. She gets out Monday afternoon. I work night shift at the time. I get her home, settled back in with the baby and all the rest of the kids at the time that I need to be heading out the door, and she is freshly medicated and just gave birth. So I ended up not going to work that day, and the human resource office essentially covered both of those days. They covered me being off work that Friday, leaving an hour or so into my shift, and they covered me taking off that Monday, and I was inside my 90-day probationary period, so I was a little concerned about it. And so I got 3 days with my newborn, and I was back to work. Now, do I feel like that's the way that things should be? No. One of my coworkers who hired in about a year after I did, when him and his wife found out they were pregnant, he had been saving up money, and he had some time in with the company by the time they found out they were pregnant. So he had money in the bank, qualified for baby bonding. And he got several weeks of baby bonding time. And his wife had a very rough delivery, so he ended up taking all of that and a little bit because she had had a pretty rough labor and delivery. Don't blame him a bit. Well, anyway, where I come down on this is like this. Do I think it's important for fathers to be there for their new kids, for their wife that just went through childbirth, which no matter how you cut it is a huge physical ordeal? Yes, I do. However, the childbirthing experience isn't as big a deal for the father as it is for the mother, so they need time off to physically heal from either natural childbirth or cesarean section. Whereas the father didn't have any physical trauma. The only thing that's happening different for the father is lack of sleep. So Pete Buttigieg took off for 8 weeks. He's gay. He's married to a man. They adopted. So my whole take on it is neither one of them were physically recovering from anything. It was strictly baby bonding time. Not judging, just fact. So, for him to take off for 8 weeks, and I know that there's, deputy secretaries and undersecretaries, and so his job was getting done. I don't particularly think that there was a pile of unanswered mail and emails just laying around the Department of Transportation offices waiting on Pete to get back in. I don't think that's what was happening. But I do think that taking 2 months off work when you're not nursing someone back to health as well as taking care of a newborn is somewhat extreme. It's my opinion. What do I know? I do know that my wife, when she gave birth, she was, the first week she's very tired, very slow moving, and basically trying to sleep whenever the baby's asleep. By week 3, she was back to doing everything she was doing before she gave birth. And, she'd strap the baby in the front carrier, go to the store, go grocery shopping, and just be happy as a clam being out of the house and shopping and doing what she normally did and wanted to do anyway. So I do think that 8 weeks is slightly excessive, especially when you're not dealing with any healing during that time. Then I also find it odd that the guy that's in charge left when his department's in crisis. I might have taken, if I were in his shoes, I would have taken some work from home days, Zoom meetings, or placed the phone calls at my house. I might have done like an every other day kind of thing where, hey, I'm going to hang out at the house. If someone needs to call me, you know where I'm at. And I'm going to take all my meetings over the phone at the house so I can be with my kids, with those exceptions. or I might have taken the initial week off. I think that 8 weeks is a little excessive, especially considering the circumstances of where he was and what was going on in his department. I also don't think that the government owes it to society to pay for our wants. Most of the appointed offices in administration like this, they pay well into the 6th digit on take home or on pay. So I don't think that it's, if he wanted to take off 8 weeks to spend time with his newborn, I'm sure he could have afforded to not get paid. The coworker I was telling you about earlier, when he took off, him and his wife had been very financially responsible. She got paid maternity leave from her job, negotiated. It was a benefit from the company. He could take the time off work that he wanted, but he was out the money. And so he had saved up and had that in a slush fund and was, good to go. And, at the time I had no money in the bank when my youngest was born. And I had no accrued time off work, so I got off the day my wife went into labor, and then I just explained when I got off work, or when I went back into work the day after my wife come home, I'm just like, hey, when she got out of the hospital, she had to get medicated for the pain. She was in no shape to leave by herself, and I got home when I should have been walking out the door. They're like, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. So I don't know if there's any point to this, but just wanted to sound off on it, I guess. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Catch y'all next time.